$60. Today, that's barely enough for a dinner with friends, a couple of online purchases, or a weekend impulse buy. But what if I told you that this simple $60 bill could help you build nearly $90,000 in just 1 year? Sounds impossible, right? Your brain is probably doing the math right now and saying, there's no way, $60 isn't life-changing. And that's exactly where most people get it wrong. The secret isn't how much you start with. The secret is the system you follow. Today, I'm going to show you a powerful 52-week savings challenge that turns saving money into a game instead of a punishment. No complicated investing, no risky schemes, no overnight success stories. Just a simple strategy that helps ordinary people build extraordinary discipline. But here's the catch. Most people never finish this challenge. Not because it's too hard, but because they make one psychological mistake that quietly destroys their progress. And once you understand that mistake, you'll have a huge advantage over almost everyone else. So the question is, are you ready to turn one simple $60 decision into a life-changing habit? Let's begin. First, let's face an uncomfortable truth. Most people don't struggle because they never make money. They struggle because money never stays with them. It comes in, and somehow, it disappears even faster. One dinner out, a few online purchases, a couple of subscriptions you barely use, a random late-night shopping decision. And suddenly, the paycheck that looked so exciting on Friday feels completely gone by the end of the month. Sound familiar? You're not alone, because the real problem isn't income. The real problem is that our brains are wired for instant rewards. Psychologists call this instant gratification. Your brain doesn't care about the version of you that exists 12 months from now. Your brain wants pleasure today. It wants the coffee today, the new gadget today, the expensive sneakers today, the vacation today. And that is exactly why traditional saving advice fails. People say, just be disciplined, just spend less, just save more. But discipline is limited. Willpower runs out. Systems don't. And today, we're not building a system that feels like punishment. We're building a game your brain actually wants to play, because the moment saving becomes enjoyable, everything changes. Game designers have understood this for decades. People spend thousands of hours playing games because every small victory creates a reward loop. Level completed, achievement unlocked, progress visible. The brain loves progress. And that's exactly what we're going to use. We're going to turn your financial life into a challenge. Not a burden, not a sacrifice, a challenge. And that challenge starts with one simple number, $60. Now, let me show you how this works. The system is incredibly simple. There are 52 weeks in a year. And every week, you move one step higher on what I call the freedom ladder. Week 1, you save $60. That's it. Week 2, $120. Week 3, $180. Week 4, $240. The pattern is simple. Every single week, you increase the amount by another $60. At first, it feels ridiculously easy. Almost too easy. And that's intentional, because we are not trying to shock your brain. We're training it. The first few weeks create momentum. They create confidence. They create proof. Your mind starts saying, wait, I can actually do this. And that belief is powerful, because once people believe progress is possible, they become far more likely to continue. Now, here's where things become interesting. Most people never realize that financial success isn't about giant actions. It's about repeated actions, small wins, repeated consistently. Think about learning a language, building muscle, reading books, or mastering a skill. Nobody becomes extraordinary overnight. The same rule applies to money. Tiny actions, repeated long enough, become massive outcomes. And that's the entire philosophy behind this challenge. Now, I want you to imagine something. Imagine a giant chart hanging on your bedroom wall. 52 boxes. Each box represents 1 week. Each completed box is another victory, another level unlocked, another promise kept to yourself. This isn't just a savings chart, it's a scoreboard, a visual reminder that you're becoming the kind of person who finishes what they start. Every single week, you cross another number off, and your confidence grows, because progress that you can see is progress that your brain wants to continue. In fact, researchers have discovered something fascinating. People are dramatically more likely to achieve long-term goals when they can visually track their progress. The reason is simple. The brain hates unfinished patterns. Once you start filling those boxes, you naturally want to complete the entire challenge. It's the same reason people binge-watch television series, or finish puzzle games, or keep streaks alive on mobile apps. Completion itself becomes rewarding. And now, that psychological advantage is working in your favor. But here's the problem, and this is exactly where most people fail. Not in week 3, not in week 6, not even in week 10. People usually quit when the challenge starts demanding real commitment. The excitement disappears. Life gets busy. Unexpected expenses appear. Motivation fades. And suddenly, the challenge that once felt exciting starts feeling difficult. That is where 90% of people give up. Not because they are lazy, not because they lack intelligence, but because they make one critical mistake. They treat the challenge like a prison. They think they must follow the numbers in perfect order. Week 1, week 2, week 3. No exceptions. And the moment life interrupts that sequence, everything falls apart. But smart people understand something different. Flexibility beats perfection. Every single time. So here's the strategy that changes everything. I call it the Freedom Board method. Instead of following the chart from top to bottom, you play the game strategically. Let's say payday arrives. You worked extra hours. You received a bonus. Your finances are strong that week. Instead of saving a small amount, you attack one of the larger boxes. Maybe $600, maybe $1,200, maybe even $1,800. You cross it off, and it's gone forever. Now imagine another week. Car repairs happen. Bills increase. Unexpected problems appear. Instead of quitting, you simply choose one of the smaller boxes, $60, $120, $180. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is completion. By the end of the year, every box must be crossed off. That's what matters. This creates something psychologists call flexibility under pressure. And flexibility is one of the most powerful traits successful people possess. Rigid systems break, flexible systems survive. That's true in business, it's true in health, and it's absolutely true with money. Now, close your eyes for just a moment. Seriously, imagine this. 1 year from today. Winter has arrived. The year is ending. You walk into your room. You look at that challenge chart hanging on the wall. Every single box, completed. Every single promise, kept. You open your savings account, and there it is. Thousands upon thousands of dollars. Money that didn't come from luck. Money that didn't come from gambling. Money that didn't come from some miracle investment. You built it, one decision at a time, 1 week at a time, one small sacrifice at a time. And something incredible happens. The money feels amazing, but the confidence feels even better, because deep down, you realize you became a different person. You became someone who finishes, someone who delays gratification, someone who thinks long-term, someone who controls money, instead of being controlled by it. And trust me, that identity shift is worth more than any number sitting in your bank account, because once you master the habit of building wealth, the amount itself becomes a detail. The process stays the same. The mindset stays the same. And that's how ordinary people create extraordinary futures. But before you start this challenge, there are 3 powerful rules that will make your journey dramatically easier. And trust me, these tiny habits might save you thousands of dollars without you even noticing. Rule number 1, the 24-hour rule. This single habit has probably saved people more money than any budgeting app ever created. Here's how it works. Whenever you want to buy something expensive, don't say no. Don't fight yourself. Don't argue with your emotions. Simply wait, add the item to your cart, and leave it there for 24 hours. That's it, because the truth is, most purchases are emotional. They aren't logical. They're temporary feelings disguised as necessities. Maybe you had a stressful day. Maybe you're bored. Maybe social media convinced you that owning something new will somehow improve your life. But emotions fade. And when they do, clarity returns. Studies on consumer behavior consistently show that delaying a purchase dramatically reduces impulse spending. Why? Because time separates emotion from logic. Tomorrow, you might look at that same product and realize, I don't actually need this. And just like that, $100 stays in your pocket, $200 stays in your challenge account, $300 becomes another box crossed off your freedom board. Small decisions, massive outcomes. That's how wealth is built. Not through one giant moment, but through hundreds of invisible victories. Rule number 2, the power of loose change. Now, I know this sounds old-fashioned, maybe even a little silly, but don't underestimate it. Every evening, take whatever spare cash or coins you have left in your pocket and put them into a separate money jar. No thinking, no counting, no excuses. Just drop them in. Most people ignore small amounts of money because they seem insignificant. But insignificant things become significant when given enough time. That's one of the greatest laws of life. A few dollars here, a few dollars there, a handful of quarters, a forgotten $5 bill. Over an entire year, those tiny amounts can become hundreds, sometimes even thousands, without affecting your lifestyle at all. And the beautiful part? Your brain never feels deprived because you're not sacrificing. You're simply collecting what would have disappeared anyway. Think of it as finding hidden money that already belonged to you. Rule number 3, create consequences. Human beings are fascinating. We work harder to avoid pain than we do to gain pleasure. Psychologists call this loss aversion. The fear of losing something is stronger than the excitement of gaining something, so use that principle to your advantage. Make a deal with yourself. If you miss a week, you owe yourself a penalty. Maybe an extra $60, maybe a small donation to charity. Maybe you give up takeout for the following weekend. The consequence doesn't need to be painful. It simply needs to matter. Because once your brain understands that procrastination carries a cost, discipline becomes easier. Suddenly, the challenge isn't optional anymore. It's a commitment, and commitments create transformation. Now, let's talk about the biggest enemy nobody warns you about: lifestyle inflation. This silent habit destroys more wealth than low income ever could. Here's what usually happens. Someone gets a raise, and immediately, their expenses rise with it. A better car, more subscriptions, more expensive restaurants, bigger purchases, a more luxurious lifestyle. The problem? Their financial position never actually improves. They make more money, but they keep spending more money too, so nothing changes. The cycle simply repeats itself at a higher level. Wealthy people think differently. Instead of upgrading their lifestyle immediately, they upgrade their assets. They let their money work before they spend it. They understand that temporary pleasure is rarely worth permanent financial stress, and that's one of the greatest mindset shifts you can ever develop. Not asking, what can I buy? But asking, what can this money become if I give it enough time? That single question has created more millionaires than most people realize. And now, I want to ask you something. What would your life actually look like if money stopped being a constant source of anxiety? What would change? Would you sleep better? Would you finally take that trip you've always postponed? Would you have an emergency fund that protects your family? Would you stop living paycheck to paycheck? Would you finally feel in control? Because that's what this challenge is really about. It's not about numbers on a screen. It's about freedom. The freedom to make choices without fear. The freedom to say no to things that don't serve you. The freedom to build a future instead of constantly surviving the present. And freedom always begins with small actions. Never giant ones. One decision. 1 week. One promise kept to yourself. That's how everything changes. Remember this. Nobody wakes up one morning as a financially disciplined person. They become that person. Through repetition, through consistency, through small victories that nobody else sees. And eventually, those invisible victories become visible results. People call it luck. People call it talent. People call it good timing. But the truth is much simpler. It was discipline. Quiet, boring, consistent discipline. The kind of discipline that compounds over time. The kind of discipline that transforms ordinary people into extraordinary examples. So here's my challenge to you. Today, not tomorrow, not next Monday, not next month. Today, take your first $60. Print your freedom board, cross off your first box, and begin. Because 1 year from now, you'll either wish you had started or you'll be grateful that you did. The choice is completely yours. Day 1 or 1 day. But wait, there's one final secret. Let's say you successfully complete this challenge. Let's say you build tens of thousands of dollars in savings. What happens next? Most people make a huge mistake. They leave that money sitting in a bank account, doing absolutely nothing. Meanwhile, inflation slowly eats away at its value every single year. So here's the real question. What if that money could start working for you? What if disciplined saving was only step 1? And intelligent investing was step 2? Could consistent investing turn ordinary savings into something truly life-changing? That's exactly what we're exploring in the next video, because understanding compound growth might completely change the way you think about money forever. So if you're ready to learn how small monthly investments can create extraordinary wealth over time, make sure you watch the next episode. And before you go, I want to know something. Are you accepting this challenge? If your answer is yes, write these 2 words in the comments. Challenge accepted. Hit the like button, subscribe for more practical money strategies, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep building, keep growing. And remember, financial freedom isn't built in a single day. It's built one decision at a time.